be 97. I think we got 98 next week, potentially. So we're closing in on 100. This year, Jared and I, we got 50 episodes to record and 250 reviews to get. So if you want to leave a review, that would be fantastic. We would really love that. Hopefully I give you something to review today. So this is, I basically took a talk that I did prior, I'm not sure when, but basically kind of redid it, and I'm excited to really present this. I think there's a lot of good stuff in here, whether you're in a leadership position, quote unquote, or aspiring to be, or really satisfied with where you're at currently. I think there's a lot of stuff here. So I'm going to call this talk the 7 pitfalls of leadership. So these are all things that, in your ascent of leadership and in your growth plan, all things that you need to be conscious of. We're all going to fall victim to these, and I've got a few stories in here that I'll share of like times when I wasn't, or times when I fell victim to this particular thing. So number 1, we got 7 of these. We'll try to get through all of them. I should be able to. So number 1 is reluctance to take ownership. So this falls in line with our value of lead ourselves, right? It is, the understanding that to take responsibility is not to admit fault, right? How many of you guys have been on, well, I know you guys have been, I just got done talking to a couple of you. You've been on the sales call, you've been on the service call, and you walk out with a result that, wasn't what you were looking for, and then all of a sudden it's the customer's fault. Well, they were in a bad mood. Well, they had to run to get the kids. Well, they had to do this. Well, they had to do that. We've all been there, right? It's easy to blame somebody else for something that doesn't go your way. What I would encourage you to do is be a blame buster. What you want to do is you want to find every way to blame no one, but rather to take responsibility yourself. So if something doesn't go your way today, if a customer gives you pushback, if hey, they didn't quite see it the way that I was trying to present it. If you're leading people, hey, someone did the wrong thing. Look internal. What could I do different today? What could you do better? If the call doesn't go your way, what could you have changed? I'm sure there's something. But oftentimes we'll leave that circumstance and we'll go, well, it wasn't me. I did what I was supposed to do. Did you? Could you have done more? We can always do more. So it's that constant kind of self-evaluation and understanding that it's okay to get back in your truck and say, well, I could have done this better. I could have done that a little bit better. Because guess what? You're not admitting it to anybody else. It's you. We complain a lot about it being difficult because, well, those guys are in their trucks all by themselves. They can get into their heads and different stuff like that. Let's look at the positive side. You're in your truck all by yourself. So taking responsibility is pretty darn easy. It was you and the customer. There's no one else watching. You're going to get 4 chances today where no one is going to watch you perform. But the flip side of that is you also have to be your own critic as well. You've got to understand that in order for you to get better, in order for you to grow, you're going to have to look into that mirror and say, God, that didn't go so well. I could have done that a little bit better. I know they put a little pushback there and I could have avoided that, or I could have better explained that by doing this, whatever that may be. And it's not like you're being like, oh my God, I'm the worst technician on the face of the earth. I suck. This is terrible. No, it's just, okay, where could I have gotten better? And if we take that attitude as opposed to blaming the customer, guess what we're going to do on the next call? We're going to get a little bit better. Rather than taking that blame attitude into the next call, and at the first sign of resistance or, hey, the customer's not seeing what I'm trying to present, we automatically go to, well, crap, 2 bad customers in a row. I knew it. Today just wasn't my day. It's cold out. I just want to get home. Got one more call. Get through this. It's okay to take responsibility. You're not taking the blame. You know, as it relates to leadership, I have a conversation coming up, and I'll tell you this person doesn't even know that I have this conversation. But I have a conversation that I need to have. My goal for 2022 is to confront all difficult conversations. Anytime there's a difficult conversation that needs to be had, I'm going to have it. So I've got one that I need to have. Realized it yesterday. I would have had it yesterday, but I got a call from the daycare that there was a COVID case in my son's classroom, so he's got to stay home for 10 days. So that was a welcome to 2022. All right, we'll figure this one out, honey. This is going to be interesting. Nothing like a 4-month-old trying to work. It's impossible. But there's a difficult conversation I need to have. And as I thought through how I'm going to approach this, because no one wants to have a difficult conversation, right? Get me out of here. Nope, don't want to have it. I'd rather just complain to a coworker about how terrible this person is, or how bad their attitude is, or how they just don't get it, or how it would be really nice if they just figured things out. We've all been there. God, can you believe so-and-so? Oh, God, what an idiot. What? Is he ever going to figure this out? Like, I just don't understand. Or, that was my initial reaction. So, like, I'm in the same boat as that. Like, God, like, this is so simple. Like, why are you doing that? Like, I don't get it. Well, then I said, okay, as I was preparing this talk, weird how these things find you. So I was preparing this talk, I said, well, if I'm going to take ownership, what does my conversation need to look like with this person? It probably needs to look a lot like this. Hey, I see you doing this. What can I do to portray a better relationship between you and this person? Because I'm kind of in the middle of this particular situation. So, you know, like, they're interacting with each other, but I communicate with both of them. So as one person's bringing me their grievance about so-and-so, it'd be very easy to say, yeah, man, I agree. I just don't understand why they would do that. That's so stupid. Or I can say, well, what can I do to make sure that that relationship is better between you two? Super simple. Am I taking blame? No. But I'm just taking responsibility. How can I fix it? What can I do? Then any sort of, like, oh, shoot, well, I mean, yeah, I guess you could help, like, what is that person going to see? Oh, shit. I kind of got to do my part too, right? But it's not if you don't do this, the world's going to come to an end. No, let's just solve it together. It's a problem. Who cares? It's not that big of a deal. I've never met many problems that are that big of a deal once you just work through them. Pretty simple. Someone who is willing to do that, someone who takes ownership of every instance in your life, try this at home. It gets really interesting there. Take ownership for everything that you run into with your spouse. Think about all those annoying habits that they have and take ownership for them. I do this with my wife and the dishes. I found out last night, taking my mother-in-law to dinner for her birthday, this has been an issue since she was little. I should have known about this, that she doesn't do the dishes. I should have known about this. This should have came up at some point in time. I said, Cindy, I've known you for a long time. You never mentioned any of this about the dishes. We've been married 5 years. We dated before that. Never one mention about this. So I blame Cindy there. I felt it was necessary at dinner. I paid for dinner, so I felt like I could throw that blame on her for not letting me know that this was a problem with my wife before we got married. However, if I'm going to take ownership, well, I could take ownership by saying, well, she probably didn't do the dishes because maybe she had a long day. Maybe she was up with the baby. Maybe she was, and I can help out here. It's hard to do because every time I see those dishes in the sink, I want to throw something, but then you take a step back and you understand that in order to be a leader, both professionally and personally, take ownership. My family needs me to be a leader, not go blame my wife for not doing the dishes. That's not going to get us anywhere along our path. So I do the dishes and realize that I too have a lot of annoying things that I do. And she probably thinks the exact same thing. But rather than get mad at her for the dishes, my hope is that by showing leadership in that circumstance, she accepts my annoying habits. And I'm fairly certain I have way more than she does. But that's beside the point. We'll continue on. Number 2, misunderstanding what we lead. Misunderstanding what we lead. As leaders, we're leading people. We're not leading results. What if we looked at our actions from a leadership perspective? We looked at our actions as to how appropriate are they for the people that we lead to be successful. So rather than coaching, I don't understand why you can't do this, I don't understand why you can't hit this goal, you need to hit it, you need to do this, what do my actions need to look like in order for that person to be successful? Everybody has it within them to be successful, but we all operate differently, right? So from a leadership perspective, what if you took responsibility for how you're communicating with that person? What if you took responsibility for saying, hey, Johnny is not seeing success right now. How can I change my perspective? Does he need to have it hands-on? Does he need to watch it on a video? What do they need to do in order to be successful? You're not managing results. It's people. From a leadership perspective, when you are leading people, that means you're not doing the actual physical thing that you're all trying to do. You're leading the people that are doing it. So my big thing is, as a leader, your message to your team should be, I am here to remove obstacles in order for you to be successful. You got a problem, your tablet doesn't work, you can't figure this system out, whatever it is, I'm here to help. I'll do whatever. Last year, Tyler and I led the plumbing crew for a short time. I'd like to say it was some of their best months, but fortunately Dan has proven me wrong. I'll have a talk with him later. But my main message to them was, guys, I know nothing about plumbing. Zero. Just get on that ground level. I think they already knew that, but I reiterated it. I'm here to remove any obstacle that you guys have in being successful. What are they? Raise your hands and tell me what is holding you back from having your best month ever. Well, it took them a minute, but they started raising their hand. Hey, we need to fix this. Hey, the price for this in the price book is wrong. Okay, perfect. I can get those things fixed. I'm here to remove obstacles. They'll be fixed by noon today. I'll send you a message when they're fixed. That is what we're doing. The same thing goes when you're leading a customer in the home. It's not your job to be the hero on a service call. You're there to ask great questions, to remove obstacles so that customer can be the hero. They can make the diagnosis, right? Isn't that what we teach? Ask them a question, have them diagnose it. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, when I open up this furnace, it should look like this. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, what do you see in there? Well, it don't look like what you just said. You know why that would be a problem? No, I don't. Why would that be a problem? Well, it's going to cut down on your efficiency. It's going to cause your parts to wear, this, that, and the other. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, when I stick these probes on this here piece of something, it should read this. Can you tell me what that reading is? Well, it ain't what you just said. Oh. What's that mean? All right, cool. All right, cool. When I pull this here filter out, it should be pretty darn clean. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, what do you see on this filter? That ain't clean. Would you say you probably fibbed to me when you told me you changed it last month? Yeah, probably. It's probably been a little bit longer. You guys will have that conversation today. Lead your customer as you would lead if you were in a leadership role. Remove obstacles for that customer. You know, sometimes we'll talk about it in the sales role is clear objections. Pat probably does this better than anybody in the company. Clear objections. It's the same thing as remove obstacles. What's your plan to pay for this today? Oh, remove obstacles. Oh, he's got financing? That's great. All of a sudden, they can afford it. They weren't expecting it when you showed up today. They weren't expecting to replace their system when James showed up today. But he's removed the obstacles for them to understand that that's probably what I need to do. That's leadership. You're leading in the home every day. But in order to lead effectively, let those that you're leading be the hero. You're leading people. Three, blinded by today. As leaders, we must be able to focus on today while at the same time seeing tomorrow before it arrives. So, some of the best leaders that I've been around are planners. They understand what's going to happen. They understand what's likely to happen given what they're seeing right now. Now, how do we put that into context? As a leader, you have to be able to see the future. And some people will, push back against, like, yeah, I can see the future. What's this guy talking about? Has he lost his mind? Must have been a long drive. How much coffee have you had? When's the last time you sat down and wrote out what the future is going to look like for you? When's the last time you took, it's the beginning of the year, it's a great time to do it, and you literally wrote down what's going to happen over the next 365 days? As a leader, leading yourself, leading others, you have to be able to see that future. Right now we're finishing up the vivid vision for the company over the next 3 years, what that looks like. It's a lot of fun. What I will tell you is practice makes it a lot easier. I can see the future a lot better now because I've been practicing since, I think we wrote the first one in 2016. It's been a minute. 5 years, wow, it's crazy. List out what's going to happen. I have 5 years of experience that tell me if you write it down and you look at it every single day, you'll get there. One of the podcasts that I listen to is called The One Thing, and it's by Keller Williams Realty, Gary Keller, who started that. This is his kind of offshoot of his leadership program that he teaches all his realtors. But, they always say, and their big thing is, a goal is put there not to achieve it, but to act appropriate in the moment. Now, it literally took me like a year. I've been listening to this thing a year, and I could never figure this out. I was like, act appropriate in the moment. What is this guy talking about? Like, is he lost? I don't get it, but yeah, keep going, keep talking. And then it finally clicked. It literally finally clicked as I was writing the vivid vision. I was like, holy crap, I get it now. When we set a goal, That's a different us, right? That's someone that we want to be. That's something that we aspire to achieve. But what a goal does is it directs our actions. If we know that that's our goal, we act differently, as opposed to not having that goal and we just kind of act however. Whatever today brings, this sounds great. Whereas when you write those things down, this is what I'm going to do this year. These are the things that I'm going to do. Guess what happens? You start acting towards those, and you review them, and you look at them. I'm sure everyone has heard, if you write it down, it'll happen. If you write it down, it'll come. Well, you write it down and you keep looking at it, you can't help but achieve it. Like, literally, you would have to be some sort of sick person if you looked at your goal every day and then just got up from your desk and said, I'm going to do everything not to get there today. Watch me. This is going to be awesome. I mean, think about it. You can't do it. It's impossible. No one's going to do that to themselves. If you find somebody that does, please get them some help. If you looked at your goal every single day, you can't help but get there. So what's stopping us from doing that? It's because we're blinded by today. We're blinded by a fast-paced world that just keeps getting faster. When you take the time, it feels like you're slowing down, but what I will tell you is when you write these things down, you will speed up because you will start achieving things. You won't be like, God, this world's moving fast and I feel like I'm always behind. No, you'll be running right with it. You'll be setting the pace. I keep mine right in the back of here. Here's my goals for this year. Write these out every year. Can't help but achieve them. I look at them every day. Just every day. Look at them. Okay, well, what can I do to get closer to that one? Write my journal. Journal to kids every day. Already got it done this morning. Boom. 5 in a row. Sitting pretty good this year. Now I got to keep it up. Crap. Write them down. It's a lot of fun, actually. I've got one in here, leave early on 5 Fridays during the summer. Go pick up the kids, and I'm leaving early. So if you try to get in touch with me during the summer on Friday afternoon, I may be gone. Write those things down. What do you want to do? You'll get there, but you got to look at them every day. Don't just write them down and don't look at them. Don't be blinded by today. Teach yourself to see the future. It's not see the future, just write down what you want it to be. What kind of house you want to live in? Where do you want to live? What do you want to look like? And what I'll tell you is dream big. Dream really, really big. Actually, your first draft of your goals, go back and double everything that you just wrote. Why? Because think about how you'll act if your goal is doubled as opposed to what you originally set it at. So I told you guys that Jared and I's goal is to record 50 episodes of the podcast this year. My real goal on my paper is 100. Guess what that keeps me doing? On it every week. There's only 52 weeks in a year. So I'm going to have to squeeze in some extras, but that's okay. That keeps me moving. I know I'll hit 50 easy. We'll hit 50 by accident. And we may not make it to 100. That's okay. But I'm going to act a hell of a lot more appropriate knowing that my goal is 100 as opposed to 50. So write them down and then double it. Number 4. Held hostage by this is how we've always done it. Who's heard that before? Yeah. Held hostage by this is how we've always done it. Flexibility is key. We have to meet people where they are, not where we expect them to be. Think about that. Meet people where they are, not where we expect them to be. There's many days I say, got to be sure it's a hell of a lot easier to communicate with everybody in this damn building if they all thought like I did. Just figure it out. Unfortunately, that isn't the case. Guess how many people think like you? None. So understanding that none think like you is probably a better way to go through life, understanding that I need to meet people where they are. We talk about this with customers, talk about this with disc profiles. So often, we are quick to celebrate where we are on the disc chart, right? Whew, I'm a high D. Not everybody else, they suck, High D, this is great. I'm not a high D, by the way. My brother is, if you've met him, high D, real high D. Quick to celebrate it. However, what if we understood where we were and then also understood where we need to meet everybody else? Because as a high D, what is going to be off-putting about me to an S, to a C, to an I? What's going to be off-putting? And then how do I put that under the rug so that I can meet people where they are? Because that's how you're truly going to lead people. And when you meet people where they are, we start to understand, and we start to understand how to affect change. Because the only constant should be change. I'm sure if you guys are newer with us, you're like, these idiots change literally. Like, I think they change stuff just to make sure that they're still alive. Yeah, we do. Because we're always trying to get a little bit better, just a little bit. Well, maybe this will run better this way. And it's easy to get frustrated with that. I just learned this way to do it. God dang. But what if we all understood that there's always a better way to do it? And we may actually try a way, and it may not work. And guess what? That's okay. But we can learn something from it. This industry is huge on this is how we've always done it. But we don't have to be like that. It seems kind of boring, actually. And that's how we've always done it. Well, then what are we doing here? I don't want to be in that industry. It seems silly. Just do it like everybody else did it? Well, they didn't do it all that great. There's a better way. If you want to be a great leader, understand that change is a good thing, so long as we learn from it. Any change is an opportunity to learn. If you don't change, you can't learn. You already learned it. That's all you know. So anytime something is presented to you, what if you took the attitude of, well, shoot, what can we learn from this? Even if it's something you're like, I don't think that's going to work. Cool. It's good news. Good to know. What do we need to do? What do we need to modify? Let's figure it out. But as the leader, it's your job to facilitate that discussion, to understand that we need all points of view. We're not here to be a dictator. We're here to ask questions. Hey, how do we think we can make this better? Because what's Nexstar always say? The answer's in the room. We'll figure it out. You can give us any problem this morning, and with enough conversation and using everybody's experience, we could come up with a solution or a proposed solution. It may not work, but we'll come up with a way to do it. If we wanted to revamp the way that we run service calls, we could do it in here. I think it'd work better if we did this. Okay. Anybody else object? Well, yeah, I don't know that that would work all that great. Well, why? Well, I ran into this the other day. Well, do we think that's just maybe a one-off? Well, yeah, you're probably right. Okay, well, let's give it a whirl today. We each got 3 or 4 calls. May have more than that because it's 3 degrees outside. Let's figure that out. How can we make that work? Understand that as the leader, your job is to be the catalyst of change. That's not to dictate what should be going on. That's not to just give orders. That is to create an environment where people feel comfortable with change and they feel like they can be heard as well. So how do you do that? Well, you got to get different points of view. You just got to create an environment where it's okay to be wrong. You know, no one's going to jump down your throat so long as you're not doing it come on, not doing it intentionally. Hey, I want to try this new way of doing this today. I think it may benefit. Well, why is that? I don't know. I just keep running into this thing, and I think that this would be a good workaround. Okay, give it a whirl. See if it works. Report back. Maybe we'll change that. So one of the things that I have always kind of hung my hat on, I was actually doing an interview the other day, and they were asking me what do you think was one of the advantages or one of the things that you're good at in this business? I said, well, I think I just got really lucky because I didn't know anything about the business. So I never think, well, this is how we've always done it, because hell, I don't know how we always did it. I mean, it's kind of good sometimes not to have a lot of background in it. We've always done it like this. Oh, okay, cool. Well, can we try it like this? Yeah, I guess. May work. We do this all the time in marketing. They're like, we can't book a lead online, or you got to talk to the customer. Matt and I were just talking about this on the way up. He said he sent out a text message yesterday or the day before and booked 250 maintenance calls off a text message. That's pretty cool. Guess what? Before, we would have said, well, you can't do that. You got to talk to the customer. What about all the information you need to gather? And what about what if they schedule for the wrong day? And how are we going to know what the customer is? Well, guess what? He didn't know how we always did it. He just said, well, this seems a lot easier. Well, he just saved a lot of time. A lot of time. Short order there. 250 calls. Boom. Like that. In an evening. That's pretty cool. Good thing he didn't think about how we always did it. We'd been screwed. That's where you can show your leadership. Thinking new ideas, trying different stuff. Also relates to service calls, right? How many of you guys have been taught something and, hell, this way's always worked for me? Well, what if the new way works better? Good. I've been running service calls like this for 20 years. Oh, cool. Have you tried it this way? No, never work. No. I bet it will, because there's people doing it, and they're really successful. That's what I love about Nexstar. Oh, we can't do that. No, we can. Someone's doing it. It's wild. Well, they have, no, they're doing it. It's wild. It's crazy. Just right down the street. I already talked to them. Well, guys, seriously, they're doing it. I kid you not. We just got to figure it out. Now, it may look a little bit different, but it can be done. Anything can be done. Number 5, unwilling to set the growth pace. Unwilling to set the growth pace. What's this mean? Well, as you write down your goals, you're going to become someone different than you are today? Let's hope. So you're not, I mean, that's the point of a goal. Let's hope you're going to become someone different. So if you're going to become someone different, and we let these things that we write down kind of guide our actions, guide how we're going to approach the world, the most beneficial thing we can do today is start acting like that person. Start acting like the person you want to become. It's easy to take a day off, right? We've all been there. Oh, I think I'm going to call in today. Oh, God, I'm just not feeling it. Okay. Is that the person that you want to become? Is that on those goals? Well, everybody needs a break. Really? Really? You can't suck it up for a day and make it happen? Because guess what? It'll be hard at first. And guess what? You begin to act like that person that you want to become. Because your strength at your current level can become your weakness at the next. So as you think about the things that you're really, really good at right now, most of those goals are going to have you flexing a different muscle because you want to become someone different. You're going to use different skills. Even if that's hey, I want to be a better technician. I want to be a better plumber. Well, guess what? You're going to use different skills. You're going to be different because in order to get better, you can't go do the same stuff you're doing today because you're just going to be the same person. But those things that we hold on to, those things that we say, well, this is why I'm successful. This is why I'm good. Guess what? You're never going to get to that next level. We talked about change earlier. You've got to be willing to change. Pat's really good at what he does, but if he refuses to change, guess where he's going to be at the end of next year? Same place. Now, I know he won't do that, but that's where he's going to be if he refuses to change. If he refuses to set the growth pace, if he says, you know what, I've been listening to these sales things on the radio, but I've pretty much got it under control. Well, let's flip on the radio. Or he can say, I have so much to learn. I haven't even scratched the surface of my potential. Because at the end of the day, have any of us scratched the surface of our potential? Nope. Humans are far, far capable of way more than what you think right now. Some of you may be sitting there like, God dang. I am telling you what, if you committed to reading a book a month, 12 books this entire year, I can guarantee you'll be at a different spot by the end of the year. Because guess what? No one else is doing it. You could commit to reading one book this year, like a chapter a month, and you're going to be way ahead of 95% of the people. Think about it. Think about the people you hang around with. If you guys are sitting in this room, the group of people that you hang around with, you're probably like, God, I'm working a hell of a lot harder than they are. What if you ramped it up another notch? Not only am I working harder, not only am I putting in more hours, not only am I doing the training, I'm going home at night and I'm reading, or I'm getting on YouTube and looking up a video of how I could be a better technician. What are you going to do to set the growth pace? Are you going to look around and say, you know what, by God, I'm writing down this goal and I'm just going to flat out commit to getting exponentially better this year. I don't care what it takes. Well, it goes back to setting that high goal. If Austin sets a goal to be the best sewer salesperson in the country, and he commits to that and looks at it every day and says, there is no way that I'm letting anybody pass me, guess what? He may not get there, but he can be, I'm sure, a hell of a lot further than if he didn't. He's going to be in a really, really good spot. But you have to make that commitment with yourself. You've got to lead yourself. You've got to be willing to set the growth pace. Because what setting the growth pace will do is make it inevitable that you're going to continue to rise. And the bar is not that high. The bar isn't that high. Just go get it. You all have the opportunity to do it. Everybody has the resources. Because the vast majority of it is showing up with a positive attitude. A lot of people will say to focus on your strengths. 100% agree. But there's also weaknesses that you have that you can work on. Yeah, we want to leverage our strengths, no doubt. But what are those things? For me, it's those tough conversations. I hate them. Don't like them. Don't want confrontation. But I know I need to get better at that. So that's what I'm going to do this year. Probably make a lot of people uncomfortable. Whoa, hey, buddy, thought you didn't like these. Yep, well, turn over a new leaf. Going to get better. What are you going to get better at? What are you going to commit to? You may have it in your mind right now that, hey, yeah, that really hit a nerve with me. I think I'm going to do this. But are you? Are you going to take time tonight and write those things down? Are you going to look at them tomorrow? Are you going to look at them Sunday? Are your actions going to look different this weekend, knowing that Monday I'm going to tear it up? I'm going to be really freaking good at what I do? I don't know. The cool part is, we all have that option, right? I mean, literally, nothing's stopping you from doing that, except for yourself. So you got the choice. We all do. And there'll be tough times, for sure. We'll fall off the horse. But so long as you're looking at them every day, it'll be a hell of a lot easier to get back on the horse. Or whatever analogy you want to use. I don't ride horses much, but. Number 6, inability to develop others. So as we talked earlier, as a leader, you grow because your people grow. Placing the emphasis on results as opposed to developing is a recipe for disaster. Same goes for in our personal lives, right? As we said earlier, a goal is not meant to be achieved. It's meant to guide our actions. So if it's meant to guide our actions, what are we doing to develop? What are we doing to get better? It's not a set a goal and I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. I'll just keep, running my calls, getting my thing done. It may happen. I'll cross my fingers. We'll see. Good luck. Probably not going to happen. Anytime you ask a leader, what is your plan? Their plan should include, my plan is to develop this person in this way so that they can be more successful. You should have a development plan for everybody on your team, just as you should have a development plan for yourself. Is that reading books? Is that, working on, whatever it is that makes you good at what you do? Even in your personal life. Are you developing, are you doing things to be a better father, a better husband, better mother, whatever it may be? got to have a development plan. And then when you lead, not only do you have to have your own development plan, but you got to have one for the people that you're leading. That's why you're leading them. What are we doing to develop them? Because if you don't develop your team, guess what? You're never going to hit your goals. Won't happen. Why would it happen? Seems weird. If I put someone in charge of a team and their goal was not to develop people, why do I need a leader? I mean, it seems silly. Why? I mean, if they're just going to achieve the result, then I don't need you. I mean, I could probably find someone a lot less expensive to do paperwork or to look at the board, check in on Service Titan. Where you create your value is your ability to develop others. But again, you got to set the growth pace, and then you bring others along. And it'll be frustrating, because you may have this great development plan for somebody, and by God, they just don't see it. What do we say about that? You got to meet people where they are. Take responsibility. So if you've got a plan to develop them and they aren't catching on, well, then you got to try something different. It's not their fault. I always laugh, so many times we hire somebody, super excited, got me a new tech, it's going to be awesome. 3 months later, he's terrible. Can't figure him out. He just don't get it. Hold on. You were really in love with him when we hired him. Did you work to develop him? And not everybody's going to work out. I get that. Don't get me wrong. But what was your plan to develop him? Where did it go wrong? Guess what oftentimes we can't answer? That question. I don't know. Exactly. You can't be excited and then not excited 3 months later. You're just getting started. Or does it look like, hey, this was the development plan. We tried to follow it to a T. I tried to approach it from this angle. I tried to approach it from that angle. I think it just ended up not being a fit. And that's okay. There's going to be people like that. You can't tell everything from an interview, obviously. But we've got to have a plan of attack to help that person. It's not throw them in a truck and see if they can swim. I mean, if that was the case, again, why do I need you? I probably don't. I just hire people and throw them out in trucks. See what happens. See what sticks. Seems kind of like a terrible plan, doesn't it? Well, sometimes we still run that terrible plan because we don't come up with a development plan. We're not willing to develop others. We're not willing to spend the time with them. One-on-ones. Ride-alongs. Take responsibility for developing others. You can do this in your everyday. You guys all work with each other. How can you help someone else? Where can you develop others? You don't have to be a manager to develop others. Austin's in sewer sales. Guess what he's got a lot of? Plumbing knowledge. He could probably help someone out. What if he made a conscious decision to, I'm not telling you exactly what to do, I'm just using an example. But if you want to do it, maybe not a bad idea. If he made a conscious effort to pull someone aside and say, hey, where can I help you? Where can you get better? Have you tried this? Have you tried that? What if you approached it like this? Guess what people are going to do? Follow him. They're going to follow him. I mean, they can't help but do it. He's going to give them information. You're going to follow that person. give all the information. You may think that, I just started, I don't have much information. Yeah, you do. You got plenty of information. Developing people could be as simple as, hey man, how you doing? How's your weekend? What's going on? Can I help with anything? Need help moving? God, don't. It's a bad example because if you ask me to help me move, that's a rough one. But there's probably a better example out there. That is not one. Don't ask me to help you move. I hate moving. I cut off my family from that. I was like, hey, we are not doing this anymore. You guys got way too much stuff. But there again, as you approach a day, how can you help develop others? How can you be of assistance to someone else? Because the more you do that, the more people will follow you. And thus, you will get to where you want. Helping others is the fastest way to get where you want. Sounds backwards, but I'm telling you, if you make it a point to help as many people as you humanly possibly can every single day, you will ascend to places that you never thought possible. Because people will want to help you, and you're going to need their help, because you can't get there by yourself. Which leads us into our last one with 5 minutes to go. How about that? I'm getting pretty good at this. Misunderstanding disposition. What is it like to be on the other side of me? Do you have a can-do attitude or a let me tell you why it won't work attitude? I'm telling you, a positive attitude will get you so far in life and in leadership. I met Avery a few weeks ago. Guess what I knew immediately from him? He's going to do some really cool things because he's got a really great attitude. That's it. Avery probably didn't know anything about what he is currently doing when he started. I'm pretty sure he didn't. But guess what? He's probably going to learn. He's probably going to figure it out. Because people with a positive attitude, guess what? You're going to want to help him. You're going to want to be around him. God, he's positive. Got a great attitude. Hey, have you tried this? Hey, keep running this. Yeah, do it this way. I've been doing this for a while. I'll help you out. Guess what would happen if he had a terrible attitude? Well, you guys would say, Jared, he needs to go. He ain't going to fit. It's in a good spot. Has anyone been real excited to follow somebody who's got a shitty attitude? Just raise their hands. No? No one? No one? Okay, cool. So, as you go out today, many people will think that my shitty attitude is okay because I'm not really a leader. I'm cool with it. Like, it's just me out here in my truck doing my thing. That's great, but guess where you're never going to go? Anywhere you want to go. Because no one's going to follow you. It's so easy to have a great attitude, regardless of what's going on in your life. We're all going to run into crappy situations. But guess what someone with a positive attitude is going to attract? Good things and people to help them. If you take one thing from this entire hour of talk, take that I can have a positive attitude today. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to be positive for somebody. Even if a customer is having the worst day ever. Their sky is falling. Because guess what? We meet a lot of customers who, they're in that position, right? I don't have heat. I am cold. I've got sewage all over my basement floor. Today is not a good day for me. You are right. We are here to help. But guess what your positive attitude is going to do? Reduce their anxiety. Guess what they're probably going to be more likely to do? Trust you to fix the problem. Guess what? Yeah, man, that really does suck. All right, well, I'm going to go out to my truck and get you some options and come back on in. Ugh. You know what? This does suck. However, you've called the right company and you've got the right person out here in your home. We have a team that is going to knock this out for you so that you don't have to worry about it. All I want to reiterate is you called the right place. You made one phone call and it was the best phone call you're going to make all month because you've got a really crappy situation, no pun intended, but we're going to fix it. They're going to follow you. That's leadership, right? They're going to follow you to the solution. It's super simple. I know I say that probably at the end of every single one of these, but like when you get to the end of it, what did I just say? I said, be nice to others. I said, write down your goals. Have a positive attitude. Look to help others. That's what I said. That's all. Probably wondering, it took you an hour, dude. Probably cut down on some of that. I threw in some examples, for some flavor. But at the end of the day, man, this stuff is super simple. And we've all got the chance to do it. Today, Friday. It's my mother-in-law's birthday today, the 7th. Happy birthday, Cindy. We've all got the chance to do it, but you have to make the choice every morning you wake up. Make the choice. Today is going to be a great day. I'm going to make something happen. Because guess what waking up with a shitty attitude is going to get you? Probably more shitty things. We're all going to have tough times. There's no doubt. But we all can get through them because we'll all help each other get through them. And you can make yourself one of those people that people want to help. So go out and be somebody that people want to help and go help some people. And at the end of the day, understand where you want to be and start acting like that person today.